what if the health advice you trust isn't actually advice, but paid promotion in disguise? Because what just happened in this hearing exposes something way bigger than one person. It exposes a system that's been quietly misleading millions.
We'll now go to Senator Murphy, and for the awareness of the members, after Senator Murphy, we'll take a 15-minute break for the benefit of Dr. Means, and more importantly, the benefit of her child, and then we'll return 15 minutes, as said.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Dr. Means. Dr. Means, are you familiar with FTC policy that requires those who are recommending products online to disclose their financial connection to those companies? In particular, the document from the FTC says this: if you endorse a product through social media, your endorsement message should make it obvious when you have a relationship with the brand. Are you familiar with that?
Certainly.
As you know, there is a pending complaint regarding your failure to adhere to those guidelines that basically makes the contention, and this committee has verified the data that underlies their complaint, that you routinely violated this policy, and that, in fact, in the majority of your posts for many of the products you recommend, you did not transparently reveal your financial connection. Let me give you an example.
That's false.
Well, I'll give you an example. So there's a prenatal vitamin called WeNatal. Your filings before this committee show that you started receiving compensation in the spring of 2024. And yet in September of 2024, you posted a video saying that you had no financial relationship to the company, just a big fan. And then in October, you said, not sponsored, just love these. But in fact, you have documentation before this committee that showed when you said those things, you had a financial relationship. You had already started receiving money from that company. So you weren't telling the truth when you said you were just a fan. You were actually receiving money, correct?
In any post where I said I am not receiving money, I had not been receiving money at that time.
But you had received partnership fees for this particular prenatal vitamin. In fact, prior to September and October, you had posted partnership links in which you get compensated based upon click-throughs, correct?
I'm happy to look at whatever documentation you're talking about, but I do not, it's incorrect and it's a false representation. And just to be very clear, I've spent the last several months working with the Office of Government Ethics to be fully compliant with this process. I take it very seriously. Before, during, and after, if I'm in office, I will be in full compliance with the Office of Government Ethics. I think, as I've talked about, conflicts of interest are incredibly important to rectify if we're in public service, and I am fully committed to continuing to work with them.
So let me give you some other examples. Function Health, which is your lab testing platform, data shows that you disclosed your partnership with them less than a third of the time that you recommended their services online. Genova Diagnostics, you disclosed your sponsorship in only 2 of the 9 times that you promoted Genova. Daily Harvest, you disclosed your sponsorship in only 3 of the 14 posts recommending that product. Zen Basil Seeds, you disclosed your partnership only 2 out of the 13 times that you recommended the product. This seems systemic. It seems that in the majority of instances in which you were, as a medical professional, recommending a product, you were hiding the fact that you had a financial partnership. You seem to be in regular willful violation of the FTC rules. That is concerning, as someone who agrees with Senator Cassidy that our focus has to be on restoring trust in the medical profession. And yet, over and over again, you seem to be at scale recommending products without telling your followers. And you have 200,000 newsletter subscribers. You have almost 1 million Instagram followers. And in only 3 out of 14 times on Daily Harvest, when you were promoting Daily Harvest, you disclosed that you're getting paid by them?
It sounds like you have a lot to say about this issue, and I would be very interested to see how your staff looked at this data. I have a strong feeling that the way in which they gather this data is done intentionally to create these claims that you're making.
Well, I have the backup here. I mean, will you acknowledge that in many instances when you were promoting these products, you did not disclose that you had a financial relationship?
I don't think that's true. If it has happened, if it inadvertently has happened, I would rectify that immediately. However, I would be interested to see how your staff gathered this
I'll be
data.
happy to send it to you.
And I will conclude by saying
I'll
that
send
I
it to
take
all the committee
conflicts.
members. I mean, it's pretty incontrovertible evidence.
I take conflicts of interest incredibly seriously. I've worked diligently with the Office of Government Ethics to make sure that conflicts are addressed thoroughly.
The committee will stand in recess for 15 minutes.
Thank you.
What you're about to see isn't just a tense Senate exchange. It's a moment that pulls back the curtain on how influence really works in today's world, especially when it comes to your health. Senator Chris Murphy steps into this hearing with a very specific goal, and you can feel it from the first question. He's not guessing. He's not fishing. He's building a case, and the way he does it tells you everything about how accountability is supposed to function in a democracy. He starts with the basics, rules from the Federal Trade Commission. Simple, clear, non-negotiable. If you're getting paid to promote something, you disclose it. That's the line between honest guidance and hidden advertising. And in a world where social media has turned professionals into influencers, that line has never been more important. But then Murphy does something critical. He moves from theory to receipts. He starts naming examples, specific products, specific dates, specific statements. A prenatal vitamin or the claim was not sponsored, despite documented financial ties. And this is where the moment shifts, because now we're no longer talking about a misunderstanding, we're talking about credibility. And here's the deeper issue most people miss. That's what this moment is really about. It's about making sure that when you hear advice, you know exactly where it's coming from. No hidden incentives, no blurred lines, just facts. And that's how trust gets rebuilt. Not through words, but through accountability.